The new Skullcandy Crusher ANCs are just a whole lot of fun. And if you're considering picking these headphones up, you're mainly just concerned about their bass, because it truly is insane. But due to their price point and added new features, a lot of people want to know how the Skullcandy Crusher ANCs stack up against the Sony 1000 XM3 and Bose NC700. Specifically, their active noise cancellation. Now, the Skullcandy Crusher ANCs retail for $320, whereas the Sonys retail for $350, but they sometimes go on sale now for $300. So obviously, the price difference between the Sonys and Skullcandy could be a dilemma for some people looking into getting their first pair of ANC headphones. And then there's the Bose NC700s, which retail for $400. If you want to pick any of these headphones up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to learn more about any of these headphones, please watch their full reviews because we're only going to be going over the main differences here. Now, the first thing I want to address here is fit, because simply put, if your headphones don't fit right, you're not going to want to use them. Unfortunately, I don't think the Crusher ANCs are the best fitting headphones out there. They fit okay, but I can only wear them for short periods of time. But if I try to watch a movie with these headphones or even edit a video with them, I just can't do it. You never forget that they're there. First off, the Crusher ANCs are a pair of very heavy headphones weighing in at 310 grams, whereas the Sonys weigh in at 253 grams and the Bose weigh in at 262 grams. And you'd be surprised how noticeable this extra weight is, especially when you're walking around with them on or even just moving your head. Now, even though the Crusher ANCs do have fairly spacious ear cups compared to the Sonys and Bose, due to their stiffer padding and more synthetic feeling leatherette, they just aren't as comfortable. If I had to rank these headphones comfort-wise, it would go Sony 1000 XM3, Bose NC700, and then the Crusher ANCs. Now, the Sonys should fit most people just fine, but if you have larger ears or ears that stick out a lot, then you'll be better off with the Bose. Now, the reason why I find the Sonys more comfortable than the Bose is just because the Sonys have less clamping force than the Bose. If you have a smaller head, then the Bose will fit you just fine. But for me, I go Sony because all of my hats are XL. But what I'm getting at here is that if you're looking into investing upwards of $300 on a pair of headphones, then you should get a pair that fit well and a pair that you can wear for hours on end so that you can comfortably travel with or binge watch Netflix or watch movies with. And personally, I just can't recommend the Crushers for that. You're honestly better off with the Sony or Bose. And if your main concern here is active noise cancellation, then you're definitely better off with the Sonys or Bose. Now, the active noise cancellation on the Crusher ANCs block out a decent amount of road noise, which shouldn't be a problem for any decent pair of ANC headphones out there. But when it comes to chatter, the Crusher ANCs just simply can't keep up. But so that you can see for yourself, we're going to jump into an ANC test.
Noise cancelling on.
Like you may have just seen, the active noise cancellation on the Crushers just can't compete with the ANC on the Sonys or Bose. The active noise cancellation on the Crushers is honestly more comparable to a pair of mid-range ANC headphones instead of a pair of premium ANC headphones like we have here. But also, the active noise cancellation on the Crushers does have a noticeable amount of cabin pressure. Now, you're not going to feel it when you're listening to music with these headphones with their ANC turned on, but you will notice it when you're watching movies or TV with these headphones. Whereas with both the Sony or Bose, their cabin pressure is significantly less compared to the Crushers. Personally, I just prefer to use the Crushers with their ANC turned off. Now, even though the active noise cancellation on the Skullcandy Crusher ANC isn't amazing, it's still very nice to have because it can still come in handy when you need it. But you don't pick up the Skullcandy Crusher ANCs if active noise cancellation is your main priority. You pick them up because you're serious about your bass. These headphones just offer a completely different listening experience that neither of these two other headphones can come close to matching. The bass on the Crusher ANCs is like having constant explosions going off whenever you're listening to your music, which is just a whole lot of fun. You literally feel your music and it kind of feels like being at a concert. You pick up the Skullcandy Crusher ANCs just cause of dumb fun. They're not the smartest investment out there, but you can't help but smile every time that you use them. Now, even though the Crusher ANCs have a ridiculous amount of bass, they still sound decent. The bass on the Crusher ANCs is much more under control compared to their predecessors, the Skullcandy Crusher 360s, which means they're not going to muddle the rest of your music when the bass really gets going. But also, the mids and highs on the ANC are a little brighter than on the 360s so that they can better cut through all of their bass. Now, obviously, you can adjust how much bass these headphones have by using their bass slider, and personally, I like keeping it around halfway. But unfortunately, you don't have full control over their EQ settings. You can use their optimal EQ settings, but personally, I was never happy with how they actually sounded, so I just don't use that feature. Now, if we were to look at the completely opposite side of the spectrum here, we would end up with the Bose NC700s. The Bose NC700s have a neutral sound signature, which is better suited for easy listening. Even though the bass on the NC700s does resonate, you don't actually feel it, which is what I know some people are looking for in a pair of headphones. Instead, they focus more on clarity, soundstage, and instrument separation. Whereas with the Sonys, obviously they don't come close to matching the Crushers even with their bass turned all the way up to 10. But for your average listener, the bass on the Sonys should satiate most people because they do have more kick to them compared to the Bose. And also take into account that you have full control over the Sony's EQ settings, so you can make them sound however you want, depending on the type of music you listen to. So sound quality wise, the safe bet here are the Sonys because you can make them sound however you want, but if you're dead serious about your bass, then the Crushers are the way to go. But the last major feature on the Crusher ANCs is that they now have an ambient mode, just like the Bose NC700 and Sony 1000 XM3. For the most part, the ambient mode on the Crusher is decent because it sounds natural, but technically it is a little behind Sony's and Bose's ambient modes because you can't actually adjust it. Ultimately, this isn't a huge deal, but when you're spending upwards of $300 on a pair of headphones, small things like this can add up. But something that I do wish the Crushers had was a conversation feature like the Bose and Sony's. With the Bose, if you press and hold on their noise cancellation button for a few seconds, they'll automatically lower the volume of your music and let in all of the ambient sound around you, so you can talk to someone without having to take your headphones off, like this. And then, when you press any button on these headphones, they'll go back to normal. And I also want to quickly point out that Bose's conversation mode is better than Sony's quick attention, because both of your hands are free, unlike Sony's where you have to keep their touchpad fully covered. And finally, there's the microphone on these headphones. Now, even though the Sony 1000 XM3s are my favorite and most recommended headphones out there, their microphone sucks. Now, the microphone on the Skullcandy Crusher ENCs is a little better, but you're definitely going to have to speak up. But then there's the Bose NC700s, which just simply have the best sounding microphone in the game. Right now, I'm willing to say that the Bose NC700s have the best sounding microphones on a pair of headphones, period. But with all that being said, if you're looking into picking up a pair of ANC headphones to use in your day-to-day life, to watch movies with, to daily commute with, or to fly with, then you're obviously better off with the Sonys or Bose. Personally, I would recommend the Sony over the Bose, but that's a whole other video. You simply pick up the Skull Candy Crusher ANCs because of the sheer amount of fun they offer. The Skull Candy Crusher ANCs offer a completely unique listening experience almost no other pair of headphones can come close to offering. The amount of head-rattling bass these headphones have is simply overkill, but you can't help but smile when you use these headphones. And then the addition of active noise cancellation and an ambient mode on these headphones just make them more versatile. But like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the Crusher ENCs aren't the best fitting headphones out there, especially when compared to these other two headphones. So I would only recommend these headphones for short listening sessions. All in all, the Crusher ENCs are like a luxury sports car. They're a lot of fun to use, and they offer some luxury amenities to make life a little easier for you. And you could use them as a daily driver if you're crazy or brave enough. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. If you want to pick any of the products up mentioned in this video, those will be linked in the description down below, and you can also support the channel by checking out the merch store. But other than that, I'll catch you next time.